Hey guys, follow Le Grand Verdu. I'm gonna try to get a chat with Thomas later. Hi, Berenice.
Hi.
It's so nice to see you. That smile kills me.
Nice to
I am telling everybody I came outside because I'm in Connecticut in a friend's house. They have a big deck, and so I'm outside every chance I get, even though it's cold and a little bit damp. So I'm wearing a hat. So
It's very
everybody knows
cold
who you
here
are,
too.
but it's cold, right?
Yeah. You want to
So
see where I am?
yes, please show us where you are. Hey, Nico. Oh,
So I'm
that's the.
in the
Go ahead.
tisanerie. So here you can see the vineyard of Climens, and you can see our dear donkeys,
Oh, that's amazing.
Camomille and Fenouil. They say hello.
That's awesome. Is there a barn that they get let out of when it's daylight?
Well, they can, but they don't mind, in fact.
Oh, okay.
They like being outside.
Nice. Okay. And
I have a problem. I see all the... Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I see all the comments, and I don't see what I'm... So, is that okay?
So, yeah, that's
Does it
perfect.
work?
Beautiful. It was a good shot of the vineyard. Hey, Nelson. Vintner Project. You remember them from the dinner you had at Waverly? That's Nelson, the Vintner Project. Oh, Carolyn Frey. Hey, Carolyn. Carolyn Frey owns, let's see, it's Jaboulet in the Rhone and Chateau La Lagune in Bordeaux. So, back up, Berenice, and tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got in the wine game. And then I want to go back and explain the tisanerie a little bit to people too.
I have a little problem of connection, and I can't hear you very well. I hope it's going to work.
Okay.
So I'm showing you the tisanerie.
Okay.
Place where we store and, of course, dry the plants we use for biodynamic. So here you have some bay leaves and the marigold, the beautiful marigold we've just picked and which are drying. Here is bay leaves again and rosemary. And then we have wicker and some dandelion we've just picked also.
Nice.
So it's going on.
And all of that comes from your property, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And we don't use the word tisane so much in America. We say tea, but can you explain what you're going to do with those? You're going to make a tea out of the herbs.
Yes, absolutely. These are herbal teas that we make, so we make cheese literally, that we dynamize and then spray in the vineyards to take care of the vines, of the grapes, in order to keep the health of the vines and avoid different diseases. It's more or less like, we could say, Chinese traditional medicine. It's more preventive, and it is really, we're trying to help the vine to find its own balance in its environment in order to keep healthy.
The biodynamism is very fascinating to me. I had heard once it's a little bit like homeopathy. You don't have to spray the entire vineyard. You spray and the vineyard kind of spreads itself around and gets what it needs.
Well, it really depends on the preparations, actually.
I see. Okay.
Some we do spray on the soil, some others on the whole vineyards, and some others more like in the atmosphere. So it depends on the period, it depends on the kind of preparations. It's all very adaptable, and that's one of the key points of biodynamic.
Okay. Can you tell a little bit about Chateau Climans, how big it is, and basically how sweet wine in Bordeaux is made?
Well, Climens is a 30 hectares large estate. 30. Yes,
Wow.
and it's very special because it has not changed for centuries. It's kept in the same surface area,
Wow.
even before it was classified in 1855.
That's crazy. Wow.
Classified
Another
first.
unique thing. Hi, Rita. Hi, Pamela. And I harassed you a little bit to give me very brief definitions about why Barsac and Sauternes are special for botrytis and Sauternes. Can you give a, okay, Kim, explanation first? A lot of these are experienced wine people, but I think there's some people who don't know how the wine is
Well,
made.
of course, we do have wonderful terroirs for the grapes, but also we have a very special microclimate. We have fogs in autumn, and it is due to the Ciron. It's our local river which flows between Sauternes and Barsac, and it has a very special environment, ecosystem, so that its waters stay very, very cold. So when it goes into even in the summer, so when it flows into the Garonne River, which waters, especially in autumn, are warmer, it creates this fog.
And
noble rot is Botrytis cinerea, which is the same as gray rot, but the difference is in the way it develops. To become noble, it has to be on the right terroirs with a good drainage, the right grapes with skins which are not too thick. And then you have to have this alternance of slight humidity like you have with the fog, and sun and dry conditions. And this is the key for noble rot to develop. Of course, it develops in a very uneven way. So we have to go several times in the vineyard to pick each piece of clusters which have the right development of noble rot, the right concentration.
And is the Ciron River, is that unique to Barsac, or is that the same source of moisture for the rest of Sauternes?
Yes, it's the same. The Ciron comes from the south of the Gironde and flows between Sauternes and Barsac.
And there's a few other things. A friend of mine, she's like, "Oh, what's the blend of the Asphodele?" And I said, "You should know that. You're unique for grapes and soil. Can you remind us of that?"
Yes, because Sémillon actually is the king grape for Sauternes. It's the best to make noble rotted grapes and noble rotted wines. But generally, well, in all the cases except at Climens, they have some Sauvignon to bring liveliness, freshness to the wines. And here the terroir is so special that we don't need any Sauvignon. So we are the only ones to be 100% Sémillon. Because roughly, in fact, Sauternes, in terms of terroir, is a continuation of the gravelly terraces of the left bank of the Garonne. It's more hilly than Barsac, and you have many gravels. But in Barsac, what happened is that a change of bed of the Ciron, a few million years ago, let's say, has taken away all the sediments that were in Barsac. So it makes it a very particular site in all the Bordeaux area, because we have come back to the very old limestone subsoil, which is special, permitting a natural drainage. And so it's limestone covered with a layer of sandy clay. It is a mix of clay coming from the erosion, the degradation of the limestone, and the sand coming from the erosion of the gravel. So this is very special. And at Climens, it's even more peculiar because we're at the top of the highest limestone block, which means that the soil is very, very thin. And the wines get very fresh and mineral. Oh. And that's why we have 100% Sémillon. it has become it's historical because Sauvignon was little by little disrooted because it never went into the blending of the first wine.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
this style of Climens is really the expression, very special expression of Semillon, which becomes really bright, very well balanced, and with this great minerality. And so when we decided to make a dry white, of course, it had to be 100% Semillon.
Can you talk to us about that? The history, the recent history of dry white from Sauternes and what you have just done?
Well, in Sauternes, there's always been a hint of dry white here and there, but it has developed in the last years. And at Climens, we were wondering how we could do that. And you know that you have a very different technical process. So you have to make an investment because you have to have at least machines to keep the wines cold for vinification. And a few years ago, it was in 2017, I met Pascal Jolivet from Sancerre in New York.
Oh, okay.
At the wine experience. And this specialist of 100% Sauvignon, well, we chat together, and he told me, but yes, you could try, and maybe I can help you. So we decided to start in 2018 to make the first dry white of the history of Climens, which has become a wine which is not really, you couldn't say it's typical of Bordeaux. The vinification is quite different. What we wanted to do is really to keep the freshness. So we pick the grapes when they're just mature, and then it's a very natural fermentation with natural yeast, and we keep the wine on the lees during the vinification, and after vinification, after fermentation, to give some what we call fat body to enhance the minerality and all the very subtle fragrances you have from the vines here, which are white flowers, white fruit, citrus. It's very, very elegant.
It's delicious. Nicole, yes, Vineyard Brands has it. And it's, I can tell you firsthand, it's gorgeous wine. I have it at the restaurant when we reopen. Come and visit me for it. And the label is extraordinary, especially among those the other sweet wine houses. It's very different. Can you tell me the name of it and how you came up with that? I will post a picture of the label later. It's just gorgeous.
It's called Asphodele. So Asphodele is the same word in English as in French. And it's a flower which is the wild lily that grows on limestone, and which has really a wonderful symbol of rebirth, of linking the earth and the sky, like the tisanerie, which is the name of our other sweet wine.
Right.
And the Asphodele is the first flower that comes back after a land has been burnt by fire. And in fact, it was the first wine we have made after we've suffered from the frost, which has sort of burnt all the vineyard in 2017.
That is very cool. I didn't understand that whole story. There was a lag in the data when you said Cyprès. Can you explain the Cyprès also?
Cyprès, yes, Cyprès is the second selection of the blending of the sweet wine. So it's the little brother of Climens. It's really a wine that we consider as the spring of Climens. We wanted to show right away all the wonderful perfumes that you can have from the terroir here. So herbs and flowers and fruits. And so it's very expressive, but still with a great balance, freshness, liveliness, brightness that you have in the wines of Climens. While Climens will take a little more time to develop, to show its extraordinary complexity, subtleness. Cyprès is like blossoming.
And the word is cypress in English, and there are cypress.
And you know that the cypress is also a symbol of rebirth in the Oriental and Western civilizations. And I think it's very interesting because it really shows the verticality of the wine and the link that you can have from the roots of the vine, the terroir, and the brightness. We say the éclat, the energy that really goes up, lifts, and it's like a little transcendent in a way.
You're such a poet. I knew you were an artist, but a poet as well in a second language. One of the things
Climens gives you the soul of a poet. If you make it, but also if you drink it. So
I find that too. I get very poetic when I drink it. One of the things I've learned from you is the versatility of pairing your wine with food. People think of sweet wine as only for dessert. And my first step in that direction was at a party in Bordeaux. We drank Sauternes as an aperitif, especially something like Cyprès. And then you took me to dinner with cheese and with cooked meats and with spicy food. And I would love you to tell people about why that works.
That works, first of all, because complementarity is something very important. And that's these wines have a great range of different aromas which go with different kind of food. So I love it with savory food, for example, with cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely incredible, the mix of softness and strength you have when you taste it with cheeses, but also with almost everything. And maybe especially with spicy food. Yes. It's like you have fireworks of aromas, and these wines, they like to be confronted. They like strong flavors, and it gives them even more freshness, even more flavors.
And you mentioned complementing.
People have to discover. It's a shame if you have not tasted it yet, you have to. But it can also work very well with more traditional food, as we did in the past. In France, it was these wines were served with poultry, with turbot, with of course with champignons. How do you call them again? Mushrooms. Etc. But it goes very well with oysters, with scallops, etc.
So one of the things that when I think of you, I remember that time we went to Blue Hill and they served slow roasted pork. And I've also had duck confit with your wine. And for me, in America especially, we don't think of meat with sweet wine, but very often in a restaurant you get like a fruit chutney or even a barbecue sauce, which is really a combination of spice and sweet and acid. And it's just a different combination of those.
Absolutely.
Right? Why not?
Absolutely right. What can I say?
So apparently it snowed there last night. I saw a picture of the Dune du Pilat covered in snow. You had snow?
Oh my God, yes. I saw the Dune du Pilat covered with snow on your Instagram.
Yeah, there you go.
In fact, I had at home it was snowing this morning, but very lightly, so it didn't cover anything. But I was really amazed because, you know, we haven't had snow for years here, and today it's colder than it's been all winter long.
Wow, that's so weird.
Crazy weather all the time. It's always too cold, too hot, too wet, too dry, too something, and it gets really even more difficult for us as wine growers. And I really think that I'm happy we're using biodynamics, because I really think it helps to sort of soothe and balance all these ups and downs.
Yeah. They had Christian Moreau was putting out the candles in Chablis 2 nights ago because they were expecting a frost. Your vines are okay; they weren't bud break or anything, so they're not in danger from this.
No, and we were ready to set fire.
You are?
In a way, we've put hay and feet of vines to be able to make fires. But in fact, when there are clouds, when it's cloudy, there are no risks of.
Oh, okay.
And also the temperatures seem to get a little better, so we think it's going to be okay. But then we have to wait until maybe almost mid-May to get sure we're not going to have frost. So
wow, that's a ways off.
Still a long time. To
Alban Wine just asked, "Is snow a danger in the vineyards?" That's not an issue right now. Just an unusual.
Not a problem, no.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's just good, but as long as you don't have clear, bright sky in the morning when it's very cold, it's better. Then the risks are less important.
In a normal March, is it March? It's end of March right now. Normal March, what would you be doing in the vineyard? Pruning? And how is this quarantine affecting you as a winemaker and vineyard owner?
Well, actually, at the beginning, we were wondering how it was going to go on, because we were said everybody has to stay home, nobody is going to work. But fortunately, it has changed a little, and we've gone on working in the vineyard. So we had finished pruning, but there are works that can't wait, and we are now, plowing to discover, I don't know if you say that, the feet of vines.
Yeah.
And it's necessary to do it, otherwise we will have vegetation growing in the vineyards too much. So there are really things we have to do. And apart from that, the office is closed. Of course, no visits, and nobody now in the office.
That's one of the things that the reason I wanted to do these chats with you guys, because first of all, to see somebody who's not cooped up in a New York City apartment, but a friend of mine had just ordered some Chenin vines to plant, and he's like, "Jeff, the vines don't stop. We still have to get out there and do the thing," which it's a lot more work and a lot more difficulty, but it gave me some peace to just kind of say things are continuing, and the earth is, the vines
can't stop, and so we won't be stopping. We are just getting organized to be able to have people not working in teams together, but in the vines, it's not really a problem.
Yeah, and how many people do you have out there?
It's okay for us in terms of work. It's more in terms of sales and visits that it's.
Yeah, hopefully the big party we have when this is over will make up for that. I'm sorry, I was speaking over you.
People are getting cheered up in their confinement by drinking good wine.
Exactly. I was saying
It helps.
It helps.
It helps us, and it helps you to endure the confinement.
Yes. People are starting to say, when this is over, let's come over for coffee. When this is over. And I like that optimism. And I think there's going to be a big party after this is over. So hopefully that'll make up in sales.
Yes, I had my friend Corinne come on the phone yesterday, and she was telling me that she had frosted, that her vineyards had got the frost, had been damaged by the frost for the 4th year.
Wait, say that again. Corinne Cum.
Corinne Cum, she's our, she's not more friend, but she was our technical advisor for biodynamic.
Mm-hmm.
She works along with her husband, Jean-Michel, who's the technical director of Pontet-Canet. And they are the one who really helped us to understand and to develop biodynamic at Climens. So we stayed very close. And she was scared because she's lost her crop for the 4th year.
Really?
Really.
Yikes.
Some people really do suffer very much.
That's their plot out in Sainte-Foy?
Yes, Champ des Treilles, where she makes a really delicious white wine and a very good red too.
Wow, that's terrible. I didn't know they lost that many years in a row. Before we go, do people have questions for Berenice? She's super smart and clearly funny and poetic.
All of that.
Are you, how far do you live from the chateau? That is driving an issue? You have to bring that paper that says your destination?
Yes, I bring my paper and I show it to the policemen each time I come. And the first time the guy took the paper with his gloves, and after that I thought, but he's been touching all the papers of all the people, so he's going to contaminate. So now I'm showing my paper and say, touch it.
It's all those little things like that. You start realizing, oh wait, it gets a little crazy, but we do what we have to do.
It's really a weird situation, and we have to stay strong and not despair, and adapt ourselves, and keep in touch in the way you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cheer up.
So Alban Wine had another good question. Is there a specific tisane you do after a frost?
Yes, we would do a tisane with, the problem is I don't know the name in English, and valerian. Valerian? Do you say that?
Valerian. I eat the root because it's good for, I heard that's where they got Valium from, that it's a calming herb.
Yes, it's good to help sleeping.
Yes, exactly.
But many herbs that we do use are used also for people, like chamomile that we use to soothe, for example, in the vineyards. It's the same for people.
That's so interesting. There's a few things like that I've come across. Becky, yes, Berenice finished pruning, and people are still allowed to come out to the vineyards to work because they're still socially distant when they're out there, and her office is closed. Berenice, there's some people on here that weren't here at the beginning. Can you show the vines back from the window? Do you mind going back there?
Yes, I can show the vines again. It's more interesting than my face. So
not at all. It's just lovely to see outside.
But I'm afraid the donkeys, they are there. Cuckoo. There they are. Hello. I can't make a zoom, but, and if you can see in the back, the vines have been plowed. And, well, let's come back to and now I can show again the tisanerie.
I love that room.
This is for the entrecôte. Not
nice.
not for the cheese. And then the marigold we've just picked, so beautiful, smells wonderfully. This is bay leaves. Then the rosemary, the wicker coming also from a place, and the dandelion, and there are many others. There's of course the famous horsetail that we use a lot. We have nettle, we have chamomile, we have fennel, of course, the fennel that smells wonderfully. You can even make a sort of chicken with fennel on top, or veal. You know, you put it in a oven pot.
Yeah.
Surrounded by fennel, closing it. You put it in the oven, and it really gets the flavor of the fennel. It's fabulous. Love it.
I love that. You do that with the dry fennel.
Yes, I do that with
Wow.
it.
That's crazy. And to be clear, this is upstairs. It's kind of a big open room, as you can see, with a lot of light, and it kind of has the vibe of an attic. It's dry and warm, so they have the herbs out drying in the light and the dry air.
And it's really a place that I love because it smells wonderfully. It's a pity you can't have the smell that you have here. It's with all the plants, and it's a little out of time. And you know, of course we want to do it in the next months, but who knows? Maybe in a few weeks.
Yeah.
We organize yoga sessions in the tisanerie.
That sounds amazing, actually.
And I even invented a very special vine relaxation.
What is that?
In fact, people are lying down, and we're going to get them in, like if they are becoming a foot of vine that is in the terroir of Climens, you know, with its roots going in the soil, in the sand and clay, in the limestone, and then throughout the seasons, going to feel their buds and their leaves and the fruits coming and the ripening, etc., etc.
I love it.
Very nice.
My friend Carrie is on here. She's a yoga teacher, and she's like, sign me up. Alban wine, yes. And Rita, all these herbs do come from the Chateau Climans property. They gather them themselves. And Berenice, Becky.
I'm sorry, there was a car. I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was just saying there was a question about whether you grow all those vines on the property, and you had said yes, you do. But yes. Becky Sue Epstein asked, do you do other preparations?
Most of them come naturally. The flowers do grow naturally, like the chamomile, the dandelion, of course, and the marigolds. We pick them; they come naturally. But some others we grow them around or in the vineyard.
And then Becky Sue Epstein asked, do you often do preparations? Like, do you cook with those herbs? Like, is that common? Like you explained with the fennel?
In fact, I'm using some chamomile, but it's more for tea. But I would like to try other things, other kind of teas, mix of different teas. Of different plants, and also of course we commonly use bay leaves and rosemary in the cooking.
And nettles. I've had nettle soup, which I love. But you do it fresh.
Well, you have to give me yes, it's better when it's fresh, which is of course possible. But you have to give me your recipe because. I've tried, but it was not so.
I think just make any chicken soup or anything you would put spinach in. Just throw it in. Watch with gloves. Throw it in at the end and let it boil for a minute, and then you're good to go.
I like it as a tea, but yes, I'll try.
It's a good tea too. Yeah. Well, anything you want to tell everybody? I'm going to wrap it up because I'm going to post it on IGTV so people can watch it later, and I have to do it in 15-minute increments. So
I want to tell people that let's stay together, even if we're apart, even if we're confined, and maybe it's a time we can really go inside ourselves to find our whole light of peace and diffuse it around because everybody needs it. And of course, don't forget to drink a good glass of wine and have nice food too. It helps a lot.
It helps. I have to say that chatting like this with friends, Anna Cristina Cabrales inspired me. She's doing a chat where she has a friend meet her and they have a plate of food and a glass of wine and they talk about what's going on. And it's like having a dinner date. Sitting here chatting with you is extraordinary. I have to say, reach out to your friends. The internet has been a lifesaver throughout all of this. And do reach out to your friends that you haven't heard from and see if they're okay, because people are stressed.
Unfortunately, but keep on going. Thank you so much, Jeff, for organizing that.
Thank you so much. Give my love to your family. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a video. There's more vines for the Zen of Barsac. I'm doing video chats like this every day at 10 o'clock Eastern time. I think it was Lucas Leclerc from
follow that.
Dubard in Bergerac and some Bordeaux property also. So stay tuned if you want some relief from being indoors with Vineyard chats with extraordinary people like Berenice.
Thank you, Jeff. Love you.
Be well, everybody. Bye-bye now.